For once, we do not have to guess where LeBron James is going. His own agent basically told us. Today on his podcast with Max Kellerman, Rich Paul pulled out an actual whiteboard and listed 10 real teams LeBron could sign with the case for and against each one. So we are going to walk through his entire board, team by team, look at the names surprisingly missing, and answer the only question that matters. Based on what Rich Paul himself said, where's LeBron most likely to go? Let's break it down. Here's the plan. First, the setup, including the goodbye LeBron already said to the Lakers. Then the one comment Paul made that quietly gave everything away. Then the real contenders, the 5 teams he actually broke down. Then the long shots, and the reason a smart agent shows a whiteboard at all. And finally, my read on the single most likely landing spot. His words are the facts. The pick at the end is mine. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing first, if you like NBA breakdowns that go straight to the source instead of guessing, subscribe. Because this is LeBron's own agent tipping his hand, and by the end, you will know exactly where I think this lands, and why. Start with the setup, because it is not every day the most powerful agent in sports maps out his client's future on camera. On the Game Over podcast, Rich Paul, LeBron's agent and the head of Clutch Sports, literally drew a whiteboard of 10 realistic teams. A few things to set the table. LeBron is 41. Per Shams Charania, he is in fact finding mode. Paul says his family gave him the green light to play anywhere. And in his own words, no one has said this is his last year. So this is a real open decision. But before the teams that are on the board, deal with the one that is not. The most obvious name in the league is missing, and by now, we know exactly why. This is not a mystery, and it is not us reading tea leaves. Just days before this whiteboard, LeBron made it official. Through Rich Paul, he told the Lakers he will not return, and that he will play his record 24th season somewhere else. He is a free agent for real, so the Lakers are not left off the board because of some hidden signal. They are off it because that chapter is already closed. Los Angeles is over. The only question left is where he goes next. And a big move would be nothing new for him. LeBron has rewritten his story before. Drafted by Cleveland in 2003, the decision in Miami in 2010, back home to Cleveland in 2014, then out to the Lakers in 2018. Every single one of those moves reshaped the league. So a whiteboard full of new teams in 2026 is not a crisis. It is just the next chapter of a career built on big swings. So who did make it? Paul split the board into 2 groups. 5 core teams he actually broke down lineup by lineup. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat, the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then 5 more out on the edges. The Golden State Warriors, the Dallas Mavericks, the New York Knicks, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Boston Celtics. 10 teams. And one comment about the Knicks quietly gave the whole thing away. Because before we argue about fits, Paul said one thing that tells you how LeBron is really thinking right now. Paul said if the Knicks had not won the championship this year, in his words, there would be no board. LeBron would already be a Knick. Sit with that for a second. New York would be number 1 on this entire list, the runaway favorite, except they just won the title, and winning it all makes bringing in a 41-year-old LeBron far less likely because you do not tear up a champion to do it. So his most wanted destination is also the one reason it probably will not happen. And that tell matters because it reveals the filter. LeBron does not want a project. He wants to walk into a team that is already a contender and put it over the top. That is why the champion Knicks were his dream. So judge every other team by that same test. How close are they right now to a title? So set New York aside and look at the teams he actually spent real time on, the core 5.
Start with the one he clearly lit up about, Philadelphia. Paul pointed out that the new team president, Mike Ganzi, is someone LeBron has known since they were high school players together in Ohio. That is a real relationship at the very top of the franchise. He said LeBron loves Tyrese Maxey, and the fit is obvious. LeBron at power forward next to Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid. This was the warmest, most detailed pitch on the entire board. But here is the catch nobody on the podcast said out loud. Philadelphia already went all in this summer, trading for Jaylen Brown to pair with Embiid and Maxey. Stacking a 41-year-old LeBron on top of that, paying him and finding him shots, is really hard under the modern cap and tax rules. So the Philly dream is gorgeous on paper and brutal on the spreadsheet. That gap is where deals like this fall apart. That is my read. Then Cleveland, and this one is loaded with meaning. The fit is clean. LeBron slotting in next to Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, a roster that already won 52 games. And there is a personal thread too. Assistant General Manager Brandon Weems, a longtime friend of LeBron. Plus, it is home. This is the franchise that drafted him, the state he is from. The pull here is different from anywhere else on the board. But Cleveland is not perfect either, and Paul flagged the negative himself. Darius Garland was traded away this offseason, and Paul said LeBron loves Garland like he loves Maxey. So one of the relationships that used to make Cleveland feel like a lock is now gone. It does not kill the fit. The roster is still loaded, but it is the one crack in what would otherwise be the cleanest homecoming story in the league. The other three core teams each had a hook. Miami is the comfort play, a reunion with Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, the pairing that made LeBron a two-time champion the first time around. If he wants a proven culture and people he trusts, the Heat check that box completely. Denver is the tantalizing one. Paul cited LeBron's friendship with Governor Josh Kroenke and the dream of playing next to Nikola Jokic, the best passing big man alive. Asked if the Nuggets were real, Paul said they would not be on the board if they were not. That pairing is the kind of fit that keeps other coaches up at night. And Minnesota is the pure need fit. The Timberwolves are losing their top two power forwards, so there is a LeBron-sized hole in the front court on a team that already wins. He would not have to carry them, just finish them. Of the quieter core teams, the Wolves have the most obvious role waiting. Then there were the five out on the edges, the teams Paul listed but did not exactly sell. Golden State is the interesting one here. For a long time, they were seen as a genuine frontrunner, the dream of LeBron next to Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. But Paul set them off to the side of the board, and reporting says the Warriors themselves do not believe they are the favorite. So the flashiest pairing on paper has quietly cooled from a frontrunner to a maybe. The last three are long shots. Dallas got a mention thanks to their new president, Masai Ujiri, an intriguing partner if nothing else. And San Antonio and Boston were basically just names on the edge, with no real pitch. Though the Celtics section reportedly had Jason Tatum and Brad Stevens next to it. On the edges means exactly that. Names, not plans. Now before we pick, one more thing. Never forget who was holding the marker. An agent does not show a whiteboard by accident. Rich Paul is the most powerful representative in sports, and putting 10 hungry suitors on one screen is a message to every one of them. Pick up the phone, bring your best offer, because everybody can see the competition. So some of these names are genuine destinations. Some are leverage to lift the others. The skill is telling which is which. That is my read on the whole exercise. So strip it all down. The Knicks are out because they won. The edges are long shots. That leaves the teams that actually feel real. So where does he go? Miami, Denver, and Minnesota are all clean fits, but none carried the personal fireworks Paul lit off for two franchises. Listen to how he actually talked, and it keeps coming back to the same two names: Philadelphia and Cleveland. Those are the finalists. So let's put them head to head.
Philadelphia was the pitch he was most excited about. The old friend running the team, the love for Maxey, a stacked roster, but the money would be brutal after they already added Brown, Embiid, and Maxey. Cleveland is the hometown, a cleaner financial fit, a 52-win roster, and the frontrunner in the reporting. One is the dream, one is the plan. Here is the case for Philadelphia. It is the emotional favorite. Paul lit up talking about it, LeBron loves Maxey, the man running the team is a friend from high school, and the roster is stacked. If the front office can somehow make the money work, this is a super team overnight, with people he trusts. The heart says Philadelphia.
And here's the case for Cleveland. It is the head. The money is easier. The roster already won 52 games. There is a front office tie in Brandon Weems, and it is home for a 41-year-old thinking about legacy. Today's reporting also calls the Cavaliers the frontrunner. Fewer fireworks, more logic. At this stage of a career, logic usually wins. So here's my read on the whole board, as a rough likelihood, not betting odds. Cleveland edges it. The hometown fit, the reporting also calls the frontrunner. Philadelphia is right behind. The most heat, but the hardest math. Then Golden State, Miami, and Denver in the next tier. Everything else is a long shot until something changes. His words are the facts. These percentages are mine. So my pick. Based on what Rich Paul actually said, I lean Cleveland. It is the hometown, the fit is clean, the money is workable, the front office ties are real, and the reporting points the same way. But be honest, this is a lean, not a lock. Philadelphia was clearly the pitch he loved most, and if their front office finds a way to make the money work, that whiteboard flips in a hurry. This race is far from over. So that is LeBron's actual board, straight from his agent. 10 teams, no Lakers, the champion Knicks quietly at the top of his heart, and a real two-team race between Cleveland and Philadelphia. So tell me, do you trust the hometown logic in Cleveland, or does the Philadelphia super team steal him away? Drop it below. And we are so close to 2,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.